So, again, the second thing you're going to have written down, because we wrote about how Ken Saro-Wiwa was executed and all that, is February 2013, 9 polio workers were killed in northern Nigeria. Now, before we write down the reason why, we know that like HIV and AIDS, we talked about this yesterday, are really bad in Nigeria because of dense population and poor contraceptive habits, right? Like we talked about that. The question then is, why is polio, think of this, polio, which is a crippling disease, is only existing in one part of the whole world right now? And that part is?
Northern Nigeria.
Why then? Why, Carson?
Isn't it because they refuse to get vaccines?
Correct, you're right on. The short answer is they refuse to get vaccines. Was it the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, right? I think that's what it's called. One of their main pillars is to help vaccinate the world against polio. And they keep thinking, oh, we did it. And 2 days later, northern Nigeria is like, no, you didn't. Like they keep reminding them. They're so frustrated by this process because many of them refuse to take the vaccine. In fact, in 2013, the Red Cross, ooh, the scary Red Cross, right? They come out and they send polio international workers, Maddie, to northern Nigeria. And they're like, hey, International Red Cross, not the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, we have a vaccine that isn't even like a shot. Back in the day, the old polio vaccine was like pretty intense. You can see it on like your grandparents' elbow pit sometimes. It's like, ooh, what's that scar? That's the polio vaccine. It was eradicated from most of the world. Now, they've actually made it sort of be like a hamster droplet thing. You know, like a little hamster water bottle, like you drop it in, and that's it. You just ingest it, and you have your vaccine. Great. So simple, bless you. But still, northern Nigerians are like, nope, we're not going to take it. So the polio workers are like, okay, we're going to help here. Keep writing here in this second part that Muslim extremists used a car bomb. Muslim extremists used a car bomb. Muslim extremists used a car bomb to blow up the building because they felt, so Muslim extremists used a car bomb to blow up the building because they felt it was a Western plot. It was a Western plot to sterilize Muslim girls. No, the Western plot to sterilize Muslim girls. Okay, man, I feel like we're talking about a health class here too. What does it mean when I say sterilize girls? What does it mean? Not to be like, we're going to make them hygienic and like now they're clean. That's not what we're talking about. Thomas?
Like to make it so they can't have children.
Yeah, I mean, to be blunt, that's really what it is. That they are thinking, these Muslim extremists, that last layer, the 5% Boko Haramers, right, if you will, the worst of it, they feel like it would be a plot to sterilize them. That like, you hate Muslims so much that with the polio vaccine, it's really a secret conspiracy that it will make them infertile, and the West hates us. And so they were like, wait, so that means it justifies you getting a car bomb, putting on the engine block, going into the Red Cross building in Kano, Nigeria, and being like, killing 9 and injuring dozens. Like, that justifies it. And Boko Haram's like, yep, job well done. Like, what are you smoking? Like, what are you talking about? That's why. So, Carson, you were saying because they're not taking the vaccine, right? The question is, why aren't they taking the vaccine? Because Muslim extremists feel it's threatened. Not just because it's from the West, but they fear it's.
It's like if your enemy gives you like, hey, we want to help you. Here's
Right.
this. Would you take it and be like not suspicious about it?
Right.
I'll be like, I don't like you. Why would you give me this?
Right, and so if Skyview, for instance, I don't say like they're our enemy, but like at the Skyview basketball game, you know, right? So Mac, you guys are going, you guys playing it. And if like some Skyview players are like, hey, we've got some special Gatorade for you, there would be some suspicion. You're like, is this like COVID Gatorade, like COVID aid?
Especially if they say it like that.
Yeah, especially if they say it like that. So you're right, like people get suspicious. The thing that we have a hard time with is the Muslim extremists up north are so extreme and so like, I guess, paranoid that it's not even within like the realm of reason. It would be in it'd be the equivalent of if your mother would be like, well, Monique, we made this nice bowl of pasta for you, and you like throw it against the wall. It's poisonous. I'm calling Department of Child Family Services. You're trying to poison me. And your mom's like, what the crap just happened here? That's the world's reaction, right? Of saying, why are you killing these volunteers who are there for the International Red Cross, right? So there's this skepticism, but I think the world can see it's being unreasonable. I think that's fair to say. And that's why, Carson, they aren't immunized, if you will, vaccinated from it. And it gave Walker the chills to think that northern Nigeria, I mean, it's a chilling, sorry. Yeah, Carson?
Could we force them to take it?
Now you get into the controversial thing. The chilling thing really now is, we're on the precipice of the COVID vaccine, right? Some people are concerned that if we've been mandated for masks, there's that argument, the slippery slope argument. The immunization cards that are required for you guys to come to school has already broken that threshold of like, if you want to come to a public school, you have to show immunizations. Right? You know what I mean? Like when you guys get registered for school. So masks aren't really that, it's not crazy different from that. COVID vaccine isn't different. They could require you to have a COVID vaccine. That's probably not unheard of. The question is will the government require everybody to get a COVID vaccine? I highly doubt it, right? So the question is I don't think Nigeria will force their own people to get it. I don't think the UN will force their own people to get the vaccine. Because there is that idea of like the element of freedom. Will they give all these different protocols and regulations and monitoring? Yes. But I don't think, Carson, they're going to force them. For the same reason that I don't think the government here will force come February, like everybody has to take it, right? Now it's sort of a passive approach that Mac's coach will say, all right, guys, you got to get it if you want to go in playoffs. Like, you got to show the proof there. Like, do you get what I'm saying there? That could happen, as opposed to being at practice where Coach McClure's like, all right, let me just shoot you up here. You're like, you know what I mean? That'd be very awkward. Carson, does that answer your question? Yeah. Yeah, Tom?
Why do groups like Boko Haram and ISIS,
Yeah.
or even like some northern groups, why do they have to be so extreme? Like, why do they have to use extreme force?
Really good question, right? I think that's not a PhD for political science. It's a couple of asked this type, but that's more of a PhD for sociology. Heck, psychology. Mr. Geddes, could talk about groupthink within groups like this. Here's an answer that I can give you. Islam is the newest major religion in the world. Does that make sense? 880 or so, right? Now, other religions have popped up since then, but the newest major one. When Christianity was in its infancy, did it always make good decisions?
Yeah. No.
Good. I kind of like, no. The whole Crusades and the you had to pay for forgiveness of your sins in the early Catholic Church, and there were some problems. Okay, a lot of death and destruction, and the Inquisition, the Spanish Inquisition, that was really rough because it persecuted tons of Christians. Okay, and non-believers. They made those mistakes. Does the Christian world today make those types of mistakes? Maybe in some way. Pedophilia in certain churches could exist, but not to that same level, right? My short answer is, why would Muslims have that outer layer, that 5% of the Islamic world that might be more predisposed to do these types of things? Is they're still in the KKK effect, right? They're still in that extreme effect. And I would hope, given time, they won't be as extreme given time, because the religion as a whole might mature. But that's my own philosophical stance and historical stance. Maybe there's other interpretations of the Quran that might lead into that more. But we did talk about 80% of the Muslim world is wonderfully peaceful. It's that one little part why they get that extreme. Maybe because it's newer and they're taking it more aggressively. I hope that answers a little bit of what you're saying. Good question. All right, let me get to. I'll get to you. I promise, Carson. I want to get to this third part here, because you're talking about extreme. It's not just extreme from Islamic extremes, but extreme from the government. And some of you might write about this in Travel Agent number 2 on violent activity. But third thing is, in a 2013 overreaction. In a 2013 overreaction.
This is still the second point.
Sorry, this is the third one. In a 2013 overreaction, the military chased down a terror suspect. In a 2013 overreaction, the military chased down a terror suspect to the village of Baga, B-A-G-A. A terror suspect to the village of Baga, B-A-G-A. Okay, let me use a simple analogy here. I don't know if any of you have ever had a younger or older sibling who is just notorious for making your life a living heck. Like, do any of you have siblings that you want to curb stomp? Carson's like, yep, Emerson, like, yep. I mean, they just get under your skin and they just troll you. Like, they know what they're doing and they just mess with you so badly. And then maybe they might not ever get away with it either, or they get away with it all the time. Your parents are like, well, that's the good child, and Spencer, you're just the naughty one. Okay? Right, Tessa, you get what I'm saying here? Like, and you just want to okay, time to the back of the car and let's go. Forget deer or whatever eating. We're just gonna go and it's deserved. So a couple of you have felt that way. I felt that way. That probably inspires some overreactions. Where maybe, I don't know, a fork would be stabbed into a brother's arm. Hypothetically speaking, that is. Because you get so angry at them, right? They inspire such, and the moment Dylan happens, you're like, and the fork's sticking in their arm, you're like, what did I do? What just happened? I just got overreacted. I got too inspired to violence, and I got too crazy. That moment is very much like the military. In 2013, had they controlled Boko Haram? No, Thomas, they have not. They're controlling multiple states in the north. Good Luck Jonathan has had to declare an emergency, state of emergency for those states. It looks bad. And the military is there in an installation up north, and basically a terror suspect comes by and he fires into a military installation, killing one of their soldiers, legitimately. Okay, so they chase back this guy to this village of Baga, and the guy at night runs into the village, and they can't see him, right? Like, okay, it's all at night, and so they have a great idea. They burn the village down. Guys, keep writing here in the third part. They burned the village down, killing more than 200 people. They burned the village down, killing more than 200 people. And they don't get the guy. And they don't get the guy.
You basically make them the villain.
Yes. In your attempt, there's that lovely line from whatever, The Dark Knight, of like, you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. In this case, the terrorists have made them so on edge and so tired and overreacting, and I just hate you, oh my gosh, and we can't catch you and you're getting away with it, that they overreact and they burn this village down, thinking that will make everybody run from the village, right? But then they have a great idea. They're just going to stand there with AK-47s and just shoot those who get out so that they'll probably get the actual terror suspect. Great plan. No, not a great plan at all. So this shows that the military basically becomes the villain. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Okay, Carson, you had your hand up from before.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's about vaccines, but
Okay.
Northern Nigeria is refusing, then wouldn't the other Islamic extremists, would they also refuse, or why have they gone back?
You know, it's a great question. it really ties to Boko Haram, which is in West Africa but seated in northern Nigeria. Even ISIS, I shouldn't make this analogy, but you know it's bad when ISIS is like, dude, bro, take the fucking vaccine. You know, come on. Like, even their other Islamic extremists, I don't say brother, but Al Qaeda, Taliban, they're like, come on, take the vaccine. You know, and they're just the ones who are like, no, we won't. Like, it's just, that's unique to them. That's a good question. Other terrorist groups aren't following suit and saying, no, we're not gonna get it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Thomas?
So it's kind of like if all of the terrorist groups were part of a family,
Yeah.
then Boko Haram would be the conspiracy theorists.
Yeah. And when
brother.
you're already like the terrorist family, like, wow, that's real bad. Like, that's real bad. Absolutely. That's a good analogy. Yeah, Adele?
So since they're so extreme, do the terrorist groups have like pills that they can take if like they get caught like in people too?
Yeah, so you see that in movies, right? Like if they get caught, like they'll take sort of a cyanide pill and they'll, is that what you're referring to? Like just to die and kill themselves? For Boko Haram, we have seen that in ISIS, we have seen that in Al Qaeda. Boko Haram is sort of more ghetto, to be honest, that we haven't seen that happen as much. Where like they take, you know, their glasses off and they have like little cyanide here at the, that's one common thing. No, we haven't seen any reports of that for Boko Haram. But man, Russian Mafia, not that they're terrorists, right, Islamic terrorist group, but man, Russian Mafia, I don't want to say they perfected that whole thing, but man, they do that a lot. Airborne and skin-to-skin touch of like pathogens. It's creepy, man. It's like it's James Bondy type stuff. What they do. But we'll get to Russia later on. Not so much for Boko Haram. Does that answer your question? Okay, let's do this. There's just the fourth thing. It's really short. Who was elected in 2015? And well, who was elected in 2015? Let me ask you that one. Yes, Con.
Wasn't it Buhari?
Buhari, yes. Yes, you want to say that Buhari was elected in 2015. And who was elected in 2019? Buhari, right? So he was elected in 2015 and he was re-elected in 2019. Why would a reformed dictator be re-elected? Because he's reformed. Selena?
Because Goodluck Jonathan was like too soft to get rid of.
Yeah. And Mac's question before of maybe his softness, like, I'm being transparent, this is what we're doing, I'm trying to do it by the book, but ultimately you didn't get Boko Haram out, right? And the voters were like, screw you, man, I know you're Democratic and you're a good dude, but we'll take him if we can get it done. Right? So yeah, that's ultimately what we're talking about. Very good. Good. Okay, so we have those four things. Now, what we're gonna do is take a short break. Afterwards, what I'm gonna do is, and while I show a video, you guys can work together. All right, like if you have to do any last minute coordination for the project tomorrow, whatever. We've already done it. But there's a short video from a TV drama. It's called The West Wing. Some of you may have seen this or whatever. But there's an episode that talks about Islamic extremists. It happens right after 9/11, so it sort of has this play-like feeling of why do Muslims not like Americans, right? And they're trying to explain, like, it's a little more complicated. So I'm going to show you that as we shift from Nigeria. We turn the assignment tomorrow, and then next time on Thursday we start into Iran. So if you thought like, oh, I know Islam now, like, oh, you don't know Islam. We're going to get into the Middle East here in a second. Okay, and again, I always remind you guys, we cover this more than, say, like maybe Western Europe, because you are much more likely to have interactions in terms of immigrants and people now from the Middle East than you would, say, from Germany. Does that make sense? That's sort of the reality. All right, take a short break, get up, move around. Monique, in the middle of class, will let you guys get a drink of water or go to the bathroom, whatever. Just a couple minutes. Okay. Yeah, Dexter?
I call you Jordan or Mr. Pierre?
You can come either one. Yeah, kids I've had in debates, well, I'm fine if they have to call me Gordon, right? And so, I've had you in debates. You were there, yeah, you can call me Gordon, that's fine.
Is it okay if I use the college as pass?
Yes, yeah, now mind you, have one per try, right? That's a B minus. That means the other assignments. You gotta turn them in, right? Yeah, that's fine. So tomorrow you just turn them in with everybody else.
Wait, can I?
So on the syllabus, turn in, there's a college pass. You get a one freebie per try.
So
Yeah, so yes, you can for this, because it's an assignment.
Do I still have to turn in my paper?
You'll just get out a sheet of paper, write your name, college pass, and
Do we get like extra credit if we don't use that? I'm just wondering.
No,
I've
no.
had teachers do that.
Oh, okay. I thought
Like,
I
we
thought you
don't
were
use
saying,
the
I got it.
pass,
I
and then we
thought,
get to turn it in
I thought you were saying, do we get extra credit if, like, on the assignment here, if you don't use them? Like, wait, what? No. I see what you're saying. No, it doesn't like turn in extra credit
Alright.
at the end of the trial.
So
no.
I probably wanted to, if I like say turned in this assignment and didn't get like a B minus, B minus, could I at the end of the try use it on
Great
this assignment?
question, but no. I know you were gone at the beginning. No, it can't be used retroactively. It can only be used like you got to look at your assignment. Like, is this B minus work or better? Turn in the assignment. If not, which is sort of hard to predict, but
Yeah. That wasn't even the question I covered before.
yeah.
We have a test on Nigeria, right?
Yeah, so the test right before Christmas will be on Nigeria and Iran.
Which is what we're doing next.
You got it. Yep.
Okay. And
Does that help?
yeah, that helps. I was
Okay.
just because if we had a test, I was wondering if we had like a study guide.
We will do a review the day before the test. We're gonna do a review.
That's us.
Is
Just
that-
really got it. Pretty much everything that's not.
Well, it's great that you're good at math, though. I mean, STEM. We need that so badly in the U.S. So badly.
It's just like English tests and this kind of test.
We will.
I just never
Yeah,
do good.
we will have a review. In fact, I'll probably refer you guys to a YouTube video too that has that done for a review as well.
Okay.
Hint, hint. If you're seeing the review, you're in good shape. Okay.